afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PBA at Noon. I'm Paul Benwell, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sophie Caesar. Today, we have with us our good friend, Sylvain Laberge, the president and CEO of 1844 Resources, Inc. 1844 is an exploration company focusing in the grossly underdeveloped regions of Gaspé and Chibougamau, Québec. They trade on the TSX Venture under the symbol EFF. 1844 Resources' goal for its projects is to revive exploration, make discoveries, and participate in developing the Gaspé region's economy, with projects in the Chandler Sector, Murdochville sector focused on strategic and energy metals, and the Lac Arsenault for polymetallic in the sector of Bonaventure. 1844 is well positioned to grow. All projects are accessible by road and close to municipalities, which keeps to the low cost for exploration. So here we go, Sylvain. Start whenever you're ready, and we'll have a bunch of questions for you at the end, I'm sure.
Oh. Here's my screen. Hi. Good day, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We'll start with, we'll be spending much of our time in Lac Arsenault, which is the property that we are working mostly on it right now. And I'll start right away. Just for give you an update why we are called 1844 Resource. We selected that name in association with the first exploration geological survey of the Gaspe Peninsula that was completed in 1844 by Sir Edmund Logan. And that's the reason why we choose that name. We replaced Gaspe for a lot of people that knew us before. We replaced Gaspe at the end of 2020. So to start with the presentation, here we go. Forward-looking statement, the usual that every company has on their presentation. Whatever we say here is forward-looking. So we're, like Paul was saying, we're a Quebec-focused strategic and energy metal. We're working on two historical regions. One is the Chibougamau that we acquired properties last year. The other one is the Gaspe region, which the company was based on in 2012. So we're largely focused on copper, but in 2018, we picked up a polymetallic project called Lac Arsenault, and we're advancing that project as we're talking right now, as we're discussing right now. So Chibougamau region is more, we're looking mostly for copper in that sector. Strong management, that I'll leave to your discretion. Myself, I've been there since 2013. My CFO has been there since the beginning too, Andrew Davidson. He's also president of Royal Helium, and he's the CFO of 49 North, which is our largest shareholder. Bernard Martel is my geologist. He's been with us since the beginning. Bernard has a lot of experience in the Gaspe region. His mentor was the Mr. Renal Jean, who discovered the last zones in Murdochville camp back in the 80s and 90s. Our board of directors, Tom McNeil, president of 49 North, also president and CEO of Omanika in the Cariboo region in BC. Pierre-Yves Larose, he's an engineer, worked for Chevron. He's joined us 2 years ago. Denis Clement, businessman from Toronto. He actually is behind the reopening or the OMI project in Ghana. Myself, Andrew Davidson, and advisory board is Bob Wares and Christina Lally from Nouveau. So share issue and outstanding 50 million shares, 25 million warrants for a total of 76 million shares. We traded as high as 11.5, as low as 3.5 cents in the last year. Management and insider, we control 22% of the company, friends and family 25%. institutional fund 18%. So pretty much we know where most of the stock is. To give you a little preview on the Gaspe Peninsula, the Gaspe Peninsula had a copper mine from 1954 to 1999. It was managed by Noranda. It was the Gaspe copper mine, the largest copper mine in North America for a long time. Produced 141 million tons at 8.85% copper. They're still in the ground, 250 million tons. It's owned now by Glencore, and it's you know, we're just wondering what's going to happen with that project. Madeline Mine, 8.1 million ton, 1.08. Candigo Mine and the Federal Mines were the other mines in the sector. So on a map, this is our projects. Lac Arsenault, like I mentioned, is on the south side of the peninsula. We have access roads from either Chandler, Port Daniel, or Passepébiac. It's easy to access, about an hour from the Baie des Chaleurs. The other project is Native Copper, which is about 60 kilometers from Lac Arsenault. And then we have our Vortex Peck that I will briefly talk about at the end of the presentation. So to start with Lac Arsenault, we acquired a couple of claims back in 2018, started doing the due diligence on the project. There was a report that was done in 1996 with 220 million tons at I would say about 40,000 ounces equivalent gold. And sorry, I have put my phone up. I don't know why it's ringing. But anyway, so Lac Arsenault, we started working on it a couple of years ago. We looked at all the data and all the GMs from the government. And we decided last year to, after our financing in August, to start working on it. So we really went different on the different way that everybody else before. We decided to go step by step, use all the tools that we could find in the toolbox to be able to understand and see if there's a great possibility on that project. So the first step for us was to do the structure survey. We did that with Mr. Jean-Philippe Desrochers. And so we exposed all the veins, the L4W, which we're seeing here on the picture. It's a vein system about 250 meters long continuous. There was values back in the days of 1.36 grams per ton, 2.4 grams, and 8.13 grams per ton on grab samples and drill holes. So we exposed the Mesro vein, and then we went to the Marlowe and the Baker vein. So if you go on my website, you'll probably see all those results. They're all on the website to be looked at. So there's values there. It's pretty rich. Veins are rich, and we wanted to understand how they came into place. So Jean-Philippe came out with a structural mapping and assessment control of gold mineralization. So from his point of view, there's 4 types of veins. Laminated veins rich in sulfide, and type 2. These are the type of veins that we're looking at because they're probably the richest one. Then we went for a high resolution mag. This showed us like this is the Grand Pabas fault. This is the main fault crossing the south side of the peninsula. And there's a secondary fault going down from the MAG survey. We were able to identify 26 new corridors or secondary faults. From there, we were able to pinpoint 4 of those corridors that were directly associated with our veins, the L4W, the Marlowe, Mesro, and Baker. So this gives us an idea that there could be some mineralized corridors still on the property, and that's why we wanted to go forward. And then we did the Polarization Survey, the PP. Chargeability is good. It gave us 18 priority targets. What you see in purple, this is the priority 1. These are the sectors that we're looking to do some drilling during the next couple of weeks. We went from the induced polarization, we sat down and with all our consultants, and we took a decision to start a drilling program, 2,000 meter, and some trenching and some prospecting too at the same time. Right now we have the permits, we have the driller. It's just a matter of scheduling the right date. We should be able to get there within the next 3 to 4 weeks. As far as accessibility to the property, I guess how can I say it? I guess we're béni par le ciel in French. It didn't snow that much on the Gaspe Peninsula up to now. All the access roads, the forestry roads, are open and cleaned as soon as there's 10 centimeters of snow, because they're logging in the same region we are going to be drilling. Our second project is native copper. It's 156 claims. It's a pretty interesting system that we picked up in 2019. We started with 20 claims, and then from there, doing our due diligence, we realized that we were sitting on a huge greenstone belt system, similar to Lake McKay, and it's a project that we started picking up some claims, 120 actually. And from there, we started looking at all the GMs and all the values that were shown in the past. There's some showings at 0.15% copper, but there's some at 5.8. So right now we're on negotiating the last 35 claims, these ones here. We're probably going to be announcing that in a couple of weeks. We're acquiring those 35 claims to close the whole system, and we have a geologist right now working on a 43-101 and a technical 43-101 to come out with some ideas on that project. Give you an idea, here are some results. 0.5, 1.7%, or 1.17%, 1.3%. They were in drill holes, trenching, grabs. It's pretty interesting as far as a system is concerned. Then our last project, Vortex Solipec. It's 23 kilometers west of the old Gaspe copper mine that I talked about in the beginning. It's an extension to the Solipec deposit that is on our property that we share with Glencore and Sochem. We did a 43-101 in 2016. So the Solipec project, or the Solipec deposit, is 5.5 million tons at 0.88% copper. On our side of the property, it's 2.2 with 1.06% copper. The geophysical was done on the project in 2013. So we know we have a lot of data on that project. It's just that we had put it aside for a couple of years, And now we made a discovery. I forgot to tell you, we made a discovery on this property in 2012, 29 meters at 0.94% copper, and it was at 5 meter depth. So it's right on surface. And we have some ideas on that project. And actually, right now, we are in discussion with people to maybe option that project, and it's been in the works for the last couple of weeks. The board to show you the vortex. This is where we made the discovery. This is the Sony Peck deposit. And as you can see, there's 4 kilometers, and like I said before, 23 kilometers east of that is the Murdochville. So we're sitting on the same geology, the same horizons. We understand pretty well the system in that sector. It's just a matter that we need to go and start working on it. That's where we're looking to do an option with somebody else on that project. Chibougamau region, last year, 2 years ago, we picked up 33 claims in that sector. We decided to do a joint venture with Jim McLeod Exploration. We did some work last summer. We still have an interest in the project. We want to go further, and with the COVID-19, the access to the sector, it was a little bit of a hurdle. So we decided to kind of put it aside for this year, and we'll go back as soon as we can all be vaccinated and have people be able to get on the property. So like I said, the project where we're just south of an old mine that produced 1.6 million tons at 3% copper. So it's copper rich region. And I'm sure you saw other presentations from copper companies in the Chibougamau region. The camp is reviving. A lot of people are coming back to that sector. We thought when we decided to acquire some claims, we thought that it was a nice region to start working on. There was mines in the past, and that's our goal, is working where mines were and that were forgotten. And it's starting to show now, because people have an interest to come back either in the Gaspe region or the Chibougamau region. And like I said to Paul, I'll do it in 15-17 minutes, but I invite anybody to give me a call. You have my phone number on that presentation. You have my phone number on my website. I'm open to answer any question whenever you want to give me a call. And now I think Sophie has maybe some questions for me.
I have quite a few questions. Thank you so much for the presentation. I also want to start off by saying I have a great comment here from Willie McLucas. I've known Sylvain from Neil for years. I'm very impressed with this story. So thank you very much, Willie.
I can Willie for me.
Also, one of the questions was, how much cash is in the treasury, and when did the company last raise money?
Okay, we did 2 financing in 2020, one in August of $1 million, and one at the end of the year for $545,000. So we're still we have in the bank right now $620,000. The budget for the drilling program is in there. We're looking at somewhere between 350 and 375. So we're still, cash wise, we're still a little bit, we'd like to have 5 million in the till, but we're LT on what we have right now.
Excellent. So you mentioned your focus is on Lac Arsenault. Are past drill results usable for the resource estimate, for our resource estimate?
No, we have to, if we want to do a resource estimate, we have to redo all the drill holes go back to the property. And that's why we're starting with a 2,000 meter program to understand and find new zones. Because right now, it didn't make sense doing a 43-101 with all the, only on the historic. First of all, we couldn't find the casings. We couldn't find the core shack. So we have to start all over again.
So
and the estimate that was done was in 1996. That was prior to the 43-101
compliance, yeah. So do any of the properties have a 43-101?
We have a 43-101 on Sony Peck.
Okay.
We're working on a 43-101 technical on native copper.
Okay.
That would, as soon as we close our deal on the 35 claims, we'll probably finalize everything because we need to close this first.
Okay, and you had mentioned that you need to go back and re-drill. Are you going to drill old targets or no? Okay.
We're drilling on the same veins, but it's not the same targets. We're drilling the Lac Arsenault has never been drilled under 80 meters. So we're going to be doing some wells down to 165. We have new zones with the chargeability that the PP that we did, the induced polarization. We're going to be targeting some of those areas. There's when we expose the veins, there's new data that was brought on to us. So there's new areas where we're going to be targeting some drill holes.
And can you mention again?
New story.
Okay. And can you mention again how big the drill program will be for Arsenault?
It's 2,000 meters. Right
2,000 meters. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Are you in negotiation with anyone for a joint venture? That you can discuss. If you can't, it's fine.
No, not on not on the project. We're not on Lac Arsenault, not on native copper. The only thing I can say is that we are in discussion right now on Vortex.
Okay. And
so we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Okay. And do you own all the properties outright?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about the infrastructure on Arsenault?
What do you mean by infrastructure?
Infrastructure. So the question is just, is there any infrastructure? So are there roads? Do you have a camp set up? Is it?
We don't have a camp set up.
Okay.
Okay. We on the property by itself, we don't have a camp set up. We're on government land. We're not close to any municipality. We're meaning we're not in an MRC where we could have some problems with certain people. So we're in the middle of I would say about an hour from Saint-Elzéar, which is the last village before our property. The access road, it goes directly on the property. We don't have to go around or travel in the woods for 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers. Actually, the first drill hole is about 400 meters from the road. The access is incredible. As far as camping, we're getting all our staff in. We're renting 2 houses in a small municipality called Gaspé. So from there, they have groceries, they have everything.
Okay. Are you permitted on Arsenault?
Yeah, we are.
Excellent. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the major shareholders?
49 North is our major shareholder. Give an idea of who they are. They're based in Saskatoon. Known Tom McNeil and his father, Bill, a long time. Actually, Bill McNeil, for some people, was the founder of Claude Resources way back. they're a mining family. They discovered a lot of mines in the Saskatchewan and out west. They own. I don't want to be making an error right now, but I think they own about 14% of the company. They were the instigator of when we went public in 2012, and they brought me in 2013. And who else? Myself, I own 7% of the company. My CFO, my geologists, and a couple of people around us. Like I said, 22% together, and my friends and family about 25%.
Excellent. Paul, I see you've joined us. Do you have a couple of questions for Sylvain?
Sylvain, when was the stock rolled back? How long ago was that?
January 2020, 5-1.
All right, so that's out of the way. Now, you spoke earlier about the warrants, 25 million, I think it was. How close are they to in the money?
The warrants from August 2020 are at 7.5 cents. So we're trading right now at 5.5.
Yep.
We have and I'll be truthful with everybody who's listening right now. We have a little bit of an overhang right now. We've been having a seller, so we're picking up everything we can right now at these levels.
Okay, what else do I have here for you? The Native Copper Project, does it have any historical data on it that you could use for a resource, or?
No.
Okay.
No. You have one thing we have to understand about the Gaspe region. When Noranda took a decision in 1999 to get away from the Gaspe copper mine, there was, first of all, the copper was at 60 cents. The other thing too was the smelter was obsolete. It would have cost us $1.2 billion to rebuild. There was some issues with pollution. They made a big mistake in the 80s and early 90s where they imported some ore body from Chile, and that ore body contained some beryllium, which contaminated the smelter. So they had to, kind of clean up the city, clean up everything. And it kind of scared everybody away. Everybody left the Gaspe region in those days. As some people might remember, I worked with Tree Gold back in 2006. In those days, there was about 2 or 3 companies in the sector, and since 2012, I'm probably active. There's companies that have claims, but being active, we're probably the only one that has been active for the last 9 years.
In the whole region, Sylvain?
Hey?
In the whole region, you're the only ones that are active?
In the whole region.
And so is that the community is open to it? They've come, yeah, okay.
We don't have any issues with the community. We don't have any issues with the natives. Actually, that's one of the reasons why we changed the name, because one of the little municipality, the Micmac municipality, was called Gaspe. Our name was Gaspe, so they gave me a call back in September. We sat down together and we came to the conclusion that we were changing our names, but it was done on the friendly side. It wasn't. There was no pressure. There was nothing.
Oh, that's great. That's good news. Yeah.
So, Sylvain, is there any problems down there with COVID right now? I mean, how are they doing now? I know they've put them in a
yellow zone
or whatever.
They're orange zone.
Orange, okay.
Yeah. It's not a problem. You have to. We have a protocol in the company anyway, where that's why we're renting 2 houses. One house is for my usual workers, my technician and my geologist, and the other is going to be for the drillers, because we don't want, we want to create two different entities so they don't cross, because the guys are coming from Abitibi and we want to make sure that nobody crosses. As far as food is concerned, there are small restaurants that are open, not that many. So I made sure that everything was done properly. So all the food was prepared last week and all frozen up and everything. So they don't have to go to the restaurant. They don't have to go to the grocery as often. We want to make sure that we're not bringing anything in. But as far as cases, they're very low in that sector. Paspebiac, Bonaventure, I don't even recall hearing anything while I was there last week.
Well, I know the areas very well. My family is from the Gaspe, and I've been to Paspebiac, Bonaventure, all these places many times. Yeah. One last question for you, Sylvain. How far is the cash that you have on hand going to carry you? And what is your intention on Lac Arsenault, like this drill program? What is the real intention of it?
Okay, first of all, the whole program was set up to understand the system.
Okay.
As you can see, we did it very systematically. Like, we wanted to understand how the system, how the veins came up to the surface and what type of veins we had. From there, we did the MAG to understand the geophysics of the whole thing, and the PP was to see the chargeability of all the veins and the corridors that were in place. So that gave us, ideas to go forward and ideas to drill new holes and try to find new discoveries. We could have done the promotional play, raising $1 million, go back on the same veins and drill the same holes. Yep. We decided to really try to understand the system, because the system could be bigger than what has been exposed in the past. Now we understand that instead of having only 4 veins, we have 26 corridors. Those corridors might be mineralized, we don't know. So we have an understanding that we have new corridors that we have to look at. Nobody had done the chargeability, so we did the chargeability. It gives us an idea that there's things at depth that we have to go and see. There's an association between the chargeability and the veins that we know. So we know that when we look at the report, we see there's chargeability somewhere else, so we can go and try to work on that project or on that sector. And you have to understand that we're working on about not even a square kilometer. The property is 12 kilometers long. So it's a very small portion. There's other showings that we haven't even touched yet. There's a Lac Arsenault West, which is a showing from 2001, if I'm not mistaken. There's Pabus Ware, which is another sector that we haven't touched. There's the Greek veins on the southwest of the property that we haven't touched. Okay. So we're working on one little thing using the tools that we use. So if we find something, then we can use the same tools to go and try to expand it on the property and see if we have other values that could be interesting.
Excellent. Sylvain, merci beaucoup. I mean, it's a great project.
Welcome.
Glad to see you're back on track, and that this Lac Arsenault looks like it's like a good property, and you got lots of work ahead of you. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. Please be sure not to miss our next week. We're having a PBA Zooms in on silver, so you can all register for that next week. If you have any questions,
the link is in the chat if anybody wants to register.
Yep, take a look at your chat box and you'll see that there's a registration there. If you have any further questions, you can address them to Sophie or I, or get in touch with Sylvain direct. But if you do, we'll pass them on to Sylvain. Again, Sylvain, thanks very much. Much appreciated, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.